In this session, we'll be spending a few moments looking through the ISE deployment screens, talking about some of the options and capabilities there, and then we'll disable the ISE profiler service so that it's not updating endpoint info until we're better prepared to handle MAB or MAC-based authentication. Okay, going into the administration menus, we see administration, system, and deployment. And we can see our single node currently acting in a standalone role, which means all personas and all services, default services, are activated on this particular ISE node. And we get a green checkbox indicating that the node status is healthy. Get some basic information up top, and we can see that we've got different options available. As currently the role is in standalone, you'll notice all the boxes are currently grayed out in terms of disabling or enabling particular functions. And in this case, we'll make it a primary, which specifically is making it a primary PAN or policy administration node. And by breaking it into a primary, this will allow us to modify the options, and of course would be the first step in a broader deployment where we're applying primary and secondary PANs, primary and secondary monitoring or MNT nodes, and then of course multiple individual PSNs or a typical broader distribution. This particular operation, while it takes a few moments to run, does not require a reboot, and we see success here. We're currently operating as a primary. Again, it's not immediately indicative. This is a primary PAN. Notice that we've got options to be able to modify roles around the monitoring and PSN capabilities of this individual node. And we can break those out by adding additional nodes to the deployment and modifying their capabilities. From the perspective of ISE, it's always aware of all nodes that are part of a particular deployment and the roles that they serve within it. In this case, for the policy service function, policy service persona, that we've got different functions that we can enable or disable here. Notice device administration for the TACACS server, SXP, and thread-centric NAC capabilities are also additional options that we can turn on this particular node. Here we'll disable the profiler service and save, and we'll get a particular pop-up pointing out that we've got a successful update and indicating that services will be restarted. It should log us out what we're seeing here without clicking the OK button. And in a few minutes, it takes about 3 or 4 minutes, that by reviewing the command line that we see that the application server is currently in the process of reinitializing. This process to completely reboot or get the application server to a running state takes about 10 to 15 minutes within a typical environment. Okay, there we just took a look at the deployment screens, talked a little bit about how a distributed, resilient, robust deployment can be managed within ISE, a very easy task to accomplish with multiple nodes. And then we disable the profiler service so that it's not adding MAC addresses to our internal database until we're prepared to do MAC-based authentication via MAB.